Hi guys, this is Vincent Njao from Vince Fitness team. We have a new show, we call it the Vince Fitness Podcast, and our aim is to educate, inform, and entertain our clients. This podcast is client-centric. Our aim is to empower and help the clients because we believe there is a huge gap between clients, fitness, and trainers. So we want to clarify for you to know what you need and what you don't need. Basically, is breaking down your goals and making it easier for you as you pursue fitness and health.
You know, when you're flexing your muscles, we have when you're extending and reducing that distance between muscles and muscles. Like you're flexing, so you have reduced the distance. You're extending, you have increased the distance. So there are muscles that
you cannot
work well when they're at an extended position, like triceps. Isn't that so?
Yeah.
You can't do triceps like this. You have to extend.
Yeah.
But others like biceps, you have to do the opposite of that now. You have to shorten the distance. For them to work, to be worked, for them to feel that they have worked out. So the flexibility is all about the muscles. Mobility is all about the bone or joints.
Okay.
So if you have poor flexibility,
how do you improve it?
by doing now stretches.
Okay.
This
is dynamic stretches or static?
Static stretches is for flexibility.
Okay.
So dynamic mobility at the beginning of your session. Static flexibility at the end of your session.
Correct.
So you're stretching your muscles but mobilizing your joints. Get what I mean?
Yeah.
So anytime you're done exercising, which is again a common disaster, people barely cool down after strenuous exercise.
Like my friend.
And if you fail to do so, what will happen? You're inviting again injuries. Because you see, fatigue is very simple. It is accumulation of small things. Accumulation of inflexibility, immobility, and others like the ones we have mentioned. So if you have poor flexibility because you are ignorant, so you don't want to work on that, sooner than later again, you might end up tearing your muscles. You know, you might end up failing to get proper results because simply you're not completing range of movement. You get? So if you want to improve on that, always stretch your muscles after you have exercised. And maybe you can decide during your recovery days, you do yoga, can do something Pilates, something that is challenging to your muscles and joint. So building muscle is not just lifting weights.
There's so many things around building muscle.
You need also to mobilize, to flex. And also, it's also try to learn this when you're exercising. Even if you're not going to the stage, always learn to flex your muscles. You're done doing biceps, try to flex it for even 10 seconds. See how much you can withstand that intensity. You're doing legs, try to extend. They'll still help you in hypertrophy or even in strength that you're looking for.
So we've talked about mobility, flexibility. Now it's
stability. Now this one is easy because stability comes from your core. Get it? Anytime you're doing an activity, it could be lunges, it could be deadlifts,
front squats.
You need stability. Okay? And stability comes from your core. How do you know you have poor stability? When you are maybe doing squats and your knees collapse, they collapse in, you have poor stability. So you're not bracing your core well when you're doing squats.
When you're rolling your back doing a deadlift?
When you are doing a deadlift, you're rounding your back. You haven't engaged your core in the name of stability. When maybe you are doing bench press, and when you're doing bench press, you must, if you want to make it effective, if you want to be efficient in that lift, you have to round your back like this. Then you have to breathe and contain that in your stomach for you to
engage your core.
You have to engage your core.
So meaning in this case, stability is more of basics of stability is core strength.
It is core. That's why if I want to like test your stability. I'll just tell you maybe stand on one leg, do a plank. I'll tell you to do a suitcase carry. I'll tell you to do something like that, just to test on your stability.
I have a question. Does having a six-pack means you have a core stability? Kindly explain, because I think most audience think having a six-pack, your core is strong.
So does it mean if you don't have a six-pack,
your core is weak?
No, you don't have stability.
Now you see.
Let's talk about people
Let's talk
who are
about
powerlifters. Powerlifters don't have six-pack.
They have a very good one-pack, but very strong.
But they're very strong.
Very strong. Powerhouse.
So you cannot use that metric to assume that this person doesn't have stability. Whereby
there's that myth in the gyms that guys believe in so much attaining a six-pack, they've forgotten about the core strength.
Six-pack,
and stability.
Six-pack, it might be genetic. So you're genetically gifted. So you have a six-pack. Six-pack, it could be out of the activities that you're doing. You're doing,
and you've seen that there are guys who only do abs workout every day. That's a problem again.
So it's because of recovery, and then they don't understand how you go about this whole called six-pack. Six-pack is basically nutrition, and now exercise is to complement your good work. But we'll dig into that next time. We're talking about stability and core six-pack.
How do you strengthen your core?
So how do you get good stability? Is through, don't neglect core exercises. And now challenge yourself through unilateral movements.
Basically, unilateral is
when you're focusing on
single.
There's a symmetry. Your body has left and right side. Focus on your left side.
For instance, like a suitcase, a kettlebell suitcase carry on one arm.
Yeah, something like that. See, that one is more stability, because you'll have to be stable for you to sustain that.
You're trying to balance.
You're trying to balance,
straight, because the kettlebell is pushing you on the other side.
Exactly. Do things like single-legged deadlifts.
Single-legged deadlift. That's a good one.
Do walking lunges. Any unilateral movement, stability. Anytime you're using a dumbbell. Because dumbbell, you have to be independent. Each side has to be independent. So it will also test you on your stability if you're using. So you'll find some people, they're like, when they're doing bench press, so one side is weaker than the other.
The other one.
Because again, it could be their left side is weaker than their right side, but also it could be of the core stability.
Okay.
You understand? Besides these imbalances.
Okay.
So imbalances also, if you are imbalanced in your lifts, perhaps it's your core that is dragging you behind.
Okay.
Yeah. And also it's maybe one side is dominant over the other, because you are more active on this side than
the other one.
Like me, I'm a right-handed guy, isn't it? So if I don't activate my left arm, continuous process of me tolerating this habit will lead to imbalance. So it could be core issue or just flexibility
issue. You talked about the effectiveness of doing full at mobility. When we're talking about mobility, you talked about full range of motion. I've seen it's very effective. Whatever you do, always focus on full range of motion.
Full range of motion, But if you want to achieve, especially hypertrophy, not just hypertrophy, even strength. Even strength, you have to.
And I've also seen that there are some programs that where they recommend partial reps.
Okay.
There's that difference.
There's that difference.
Let's explain so that audience can.
Partial reps. Partial reps is whereby you're not completing the range of movement or motion. But data shows us that there are muscles that will respond better on partial range of motion. For instance, triceps extensions. You see, when you're doing triceps, I don't know if people can see. This is how you do triceps. Focus on the extending of the elbow joints. But anywhere above 90 degrees from here, it's useless. It's meaningless. It's more of mobility, flexibility. If I bring here and then I extend downwards, this movement here, it's not that effective. So the effectiveness of doing a push down, it's from here going downward. So this one is partial because range of movement is from here all the way down. But if I'm doing biceps, I need to complete it all the way.
Full range of motion? Yeah.
All the way down, all the way up. So in short, anytime you're doing triceps, anytime you're doing gluteus movement, like your glutes, you're trying to focus on your glutes. We don't care about completing range of movement. We only care about extending that muscle or that joint. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
For instance, I'm doing Romanian deadlift. I don't have to go all the way down for me to target my glutes.
Yeah.
I can just go just within my mid shin and I come up.
Okay.
Because deadlift, we assume you have to go all the way down and then you come all the way up. Sindio? But now RDL, it's a unique type of deadlift whereby targets your glutes and you don't have to go all the way down because you're focusing on the tension. You know, tension is what builds muscles. So if you break the tension, it becomes more of these other words, flexibility of mobility. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Before you continue, you can maybe explain to our audience the difference between the normal conventional deadlift and the Romanian deadlift.
So conventional deadlift,
guys can understand what you mean by full range of motion.
Okay. Conventional deadlift is whereby you're starting from the ground.
All the way from the floor?
The weight is at dead position.
Dead position.
That's why it's called deadlift. It's on a dead position. Then you pull it off the floor to your hips. That is what conventional deadlift. So you have to do that repeatedly for the number of reps you've been told. For the RDL, now it's the opposite. You're starting from at the top. Remember, conventional, you're starting from the bottom. This one is
from a dead position,
from a dead position. Okay, dead position even could be on a rack position, but the difference now here, you're starting at the top, the setup. Then you're going just below your knees, and then you come up.
The shin?
The shins. So the bar should be against the
shin,
the body, or the shins.
The closer to the body, the easier the movement, yeah?
And the more effective
the more
becomes.
Effective, okay.
And then you pull all the way up to your mid shin, all the way up. So it targets your glutes.
Okay.
Conventional, it targets the whole of your posterior, including the calves, because it is more of a compound lift. This one, it's more of, you're thinking about, that's why I told you mind muscle connection is so important. So when you're doing Romanian deadlift, you're thinking about the muscles that is being worked on. Just think about your what? Your glutes. Anytime you're working out, think about the muscle that you're working on.
True.
So I'm doing Romanian deadlift. My mind is on my glutes, coming up and down, and I'm not going all the way down. Since
it
okay,
is
the
partial,
moment
yeah.
it is partial.
Yeah, it's partial.
It is
One
partial.
thing I'd like to clarify: partial beginners should understand one thing. Don't do partial because you cannot do full range of motion. Guys who do partial, it's basically because they are targeting a certain muscle.
Yeah.
And this is specifically bodybuilding.
Yeah.
They want...
Or just know what you're doing then.
Yes, growth of a certain muscle. So make sure, first of all, master the basics. Basics is full range of motion. Do the right thing first.
And execution is the key.
Execution is the key.
I've seen even guys at the gym, when they're doing overhead, they're doing this. They're doing that. That is partial reps. And you're
partial
cheating.
Reps, yeah.
Or probably you're cheating.
And they are not aware.
Some of them, they're ignorant. Because, the problem with guys is this. I'm sorry to say this. Since you're using a gear, you're on test, now you think your approach of working out
has changed.
It's not changed, can apply to everyone else. So it's somehow you are misguiding people.
Oh.
Because you have muscle. People, if you have muscles, they assume you know everything. You're like the god of aesthetics.
You can have muscle and not understand the science, eh?
Hey, the worst thing you can do is to follow fitness influencers. Because they will mislead you. They will mislead you big time. So, complete range of movement when you're doing shoulders
is recommended.
Yes.
So,
but you can apply these partial reps when you're doing any other activity, including the ones that you must do full range of motion. If you're doing them on shorter, when the length is shortened. Like for instance, if I'm doing squats, I go just below, not even above parallel. I haven't done full squat, isn't that so? So I'm from the top, I'm going just not even below, above parallel. So I'm not going below parallel. It's in complete range of movement. But if I do this, I go all the way down below 90 or below parallel, and then I come just above parallel. Those two movements are very different.
They're very different.
They are both partially moved, but you see, one is putting a lot of positive pressure or stress on my muscles
And
as opposed to this other one.
that is putting pressure on the joint.
Yes. So if I'm shortening the length, because for me to work on my legs, I have to shorten the length of the muscles, the way I've explained on the triceps, for it to be worked out. Now, I don't have to come all the way up. I'm doing partial reps. I'm just coming above 90 and then I'm descending.
Okay.
It is better if your approach is like that, as opposed to now the other way around. You're coming all the way up and then you're going above 90. Above 90. You get what I mean?
I get
so, So same applies to shoulders. So if you're doing shoulders, you're doing shoulders like this. That one is good. It is because you're activating a lot of muscles. So your muscle fibers, they are being activated, several of them, for them to perform this movement.
Okay.
But if you're doing this now, opposite. Your elbows are not traveling below your shoulders.
Shoulder level.
Again, you're cheating. You're cheating because you're not completing the repetition. So you and that person who is not going below parallel on squats. You are on
the same.
Yeah.
So meaning, for advice for a beginner or a intermediate,
just
focus on full range of motion.
Yeah, focus on full range of. The rest will come later.
Yeah, they'll come later once you gain experience. Because I think number one, people tend to want to train maybe high skill movements, and you've not mastered the recommended basics or the foundations. So just master the foundations, then the rest will follow later, right?
Yeah, because hata ukiangalia, if you look at the partial reps, I mean the exercises that you can get better results when you do them partially. I said any gluteus activity. Look at hip thrusters. We are only focusing on squeezing it at the top. So if you are not focusing on that isometric contraction at the top, that is squeezing and posing at the top, again, you are misusing the sets, because we don't care on how far you're descending. We only care on how much you're squeezing. Get what I mean? So if you want to make your hip thrusters effective, apply isometrics. Like you hold it at the top before you descend. Same applies to that abductor machine. You have seen it. When you're abducting, we don't care if you bring your knees together. We care if you can withstand that pressure. Then you hold it when you abducted your thighs, and then you bring them together. So that's why I said, whenever you're doing gluteus activities or exercises and triceps exercises, they don't necessarily need that a complete range of motion. You can use the principle of partial ranges, partial reps.
One more thing on effective training. We have clients who want to buy weights at home, and we have clients who maybe they can afford 1 day per week in a gym. So for people who really like to know what is the most effective. Is it dumbbells? Is it barbell? Is it machines? Maybe if you, for instance, this is like a 3-question kind of question. So for the person who's trying to buy weights at home, he wants to maximize and purchase something that the most effective thing that I can use every single day.
Every single day.
Yeah, the most effective.
Every single day. This is what I can advise such a person.
At home.
At home. Either you go for dumbbells or barbell. But let me assume you're on a budget. Because if you're on a budget, barbell will be expensive.
It will be very expensive.
Very expensive on you. So you'll go for dumbbells. Remember, anything that a barbell does, a dumbbell also can. Because it's a matter of mimicking. You get what I mean? So a dumbbell will be good because it is cheap and affordable. Let me say it is affordable. But it can still do that which a barbell can do. But now the difference is now on your progression. You know, the easiest way to progress on your goal is using a barbell, because you can easily track. You can easily track.
So basically, let's say the one at home and
dumbbell.
You're on a budget.
And he's on a
dumbbell.
Budget. Just go for the dumbbells.
But if you're financially capable,
you go for the barbell.
Go for the barbell.
Yes,
it's the best.
Because you can do a lot of things with the barbell.
This is for someone who's joining a gym. They are very versatile. They are good in all movements. They want to know most effective most effective equipment. Is it dumbbell? Is it machine? Or is it barbell? They have a limited time at the gym. So they need to know what can I use for this 30 minutes or 20 minutes, and I'm good to go. They have accessibility to the gym. What they don't have is time. So they need to know what one equipment that if I enter the gym after my warm-up, once I grab this, I'm good to go.
Hey, this is a very
a tough
tricky
one,
question. You know why? It is tricky in this manner. They both have pros and cons. For instance, if I go for the machines and the dumbbells, the one advantage of using these two things, it is natural movement. You know, the dumbbells came to mimic the natural movement. Same applies to the machines. They came to mimic the natural movement. That's why you have cable machines, in case you're wondering, or in case people didn't know. But barbell now, it does not mimic the natural movement. It is what do you call it? Compromising your natural movement. Let's say, for instance, you're doing biceps curl with a barbell. See, this is not your natural movement. This is compromising your natural movement. But for the dumbbell, it is mobile. It is versatile. I can choose to do this way or this way. See, it is.
You can choose to do a hammer.
It is traveling through that natural path. You get? You can choose to do a hammer curl. It is traveling through that natural path. But for the barbell, it is trying to mimic something else. Same applies to the cables. It is flexible, it is mobile, it is versatile. So, if you are very concerned about elbow pain, joint pain, and all those pains, go for the dumbbells, go for the machines.
Okay.
If you don't care about,
if you don't have
pain,
an issue
with
joints,
an issue with your joints and all that, go for the barbell. And that's why the barbell came in different shapes. We have hex bar. For those people who cannot handle the natural path,
the trap bar.
They use the trap bar. For those people who cannot handle straight bar, they use the curved easy bar. The easy bar, it is curved because of that natural movement. You hold on that part which is curved for it to mimic the natural movement. If you go for the straight bar, it will do the opposite. Hence, it will cause more pressure on your joints. So after a couple of weeks, you'll be complaining about your joints because of this overuse of the joint.
Okay.
And then it is being kept on a path that it's not normally used to.
Okay.
So they are both good. Again, if you want to focus on strength, purely strength, barbell will do a good job. But if you want to focus on just toning, they like calling it toning, you want to focus on building muscle, dumbbell will do a great job, or even machine, because they complement each other. So if you want to bail out, you are alone at home, you cannot use a barbell because you'll die. Sindio? Imagine you're doing bench press, and then you're on your last rep. This last rep is you're even calling your ancestors to come and save you. What will you do? But if I'm using a dumbbell, I'll just bail out. I'll just drop
you
them.
can
Boom,
drop
boom.
it.
Or even if I'm using a machine, same thing. Isn't that so? So that's what I'm saying. We have pros and cons of both. If I'm doing a deadlift, of course a barbell will do a good job. But a dumbbell won't do a good job because the best way to maximize on your strength is through using a barbell. But if I'm focusing on now chest, chest, I'll go for the dumbbells. If I'm doing squats, of course, barbell will do a good job because you can load the weight easily. You can increase the weights easily.
It's well distributed.
Because if I look at the dumbbells, maybe I have 20, the next weight is 25. See that gap? That gap is so wide. But for the barbell, I can put 2.5. I can put 1.5.
You can progressively add weight.
Progressively.
Like the small weights, 1.5. 2.5.
But for the dumbbell,
it's either 5.
If you can't do 5, you stick to 22 kgs, or 20. So dumbbell, if you look at it, it is good. But if you have good money, you can buy a rack that is 2 kg gap on every dumbbell.
Poleni, I think the audio has dropped kidogo. Just 1 second. Let me just restart here. Go to sound. Inside too. I've been watching.
Mimi tunamaliza. Sijamaliza. Tunamaliza sai.
You are talking about
No, it's okay. Actually
Nikamaliza. Okay. Sawa.
Sasa ni swali lingine ya mwisho.
Sawa.
Ready? Yeah. One more question before we wind up. How do you choose a workout based, we've talked about effective training and we want to maximize on this workout. I don't want to choose a workout that makes me continue losing weight or makes me gain so much weight or something. How do you choose a workout based on your anatomy? Like something, this is for me. Like you can choose something and feel like this.
That one is easy. You know what? There's no...
Based on your anatomy. There's no bad workout. Yeah. And there's no... You cannot say a certain workout. I want to do a certain workout.
And also you cannot say it's a must. It's nothing must. Like a must.
Yeah.
If you don't like squats, it's not a must you do squats.
There's so many options.
Do something that you normally
glutes.
Enjoy, Do something that you normally... Like for instance, me personally, I don't like doing dumbbell shoulder press.
Why is that?
Because dumbbell shoulder press, man, I just don't like it. It's not bad. But if I have a machine, I'll choose a machine over a dumbbell overhead press. It's not bad.
Is something I hate is a leg press.
You don't like leg press, no?
I hate leg press. I've never used a leg press. Anytime I find myself there, I'm actually on a very lightweight.
What? I don't like Zecha squat. You know Zecha squat? You put barbell here and then you do squats with it. I can't do. Why should I? So if my coach forces me to do that, I'll do it, but I will not enjoy it.
Actually, one thing people need to understand is that whatever exercise you hate, it's good. Do away with it. Choose something else that targets the same muscle
and you enjoy.
Yeah, because their workouts are really... There's variety of workouts that can target the same muscle in a different way.
I don't like doing split squats on Bulgarian. I hate them with passion.
Split squats are my best.
I prefer walking lunges. Are they doing the same work? Of course, yes. Of course,
yeah.
So choose something that, number one, something that you enjoy. Number two, do something that is, let's say, goes alongside with your natural movement, the way I was saying. So if you don't like barbell press, you can do bench press. Maybe if you do barbell press, you'll feel some sharp pain within your joint. So why should you continue pushing through the pain? You can drop that. Actually, you have machines that mimic the same movement. Go and do that. So find something that is not putting any sort of pressure on your joint. Like anytime you're doing it, you're feeling some type of way. It's not must you do it.
So number one, choosing a workout
that you enjoy.
Choose a workout that you enjoy.
And choose a workout that is not affecting your joints.
Your joints.
You're not feeling any sort of pain when you're doing them.
Number three,
maybe I can say maybe focus on technique. Maybe the exercise is not bad. Maybe your technique is poor. Maybe if you change the angle of which you're using this exercise to perform, if you just make a slight angle like this, everything else aligns itself. For instance, you have seen people doing shoulders like this. See this movement? This one is very dangerous to your shoulders. So if you're used to this movement, sooner than later, you will feel some sharp pain within your joint. And you'll think your bones are degenerating. You'll think you're developing arthritis. You'll think beyond your imagination. And maybe you just have to twist your elbow like this to an angle of 45 and continue pressing. And
to make it effective,
it will be effective, and the pain maybe will fade away. You get So it depends with also technique, execution, mind-muscle connection. If you don't like Romanian deadlift, don't do them. Do something else. Because most people, they don't execute on Romanian deadlift well. They're just doing it. If there's one exercise that is being misused, it is RDL. Because with ladies, I've never seen a lady who doesn't do Romanian deadlift. So, yes, they normally do it, but I feel like they're not executing it well. And how will you tell you're not executing it well? Find people, they are stepping on the plates. Have you seen them elevating them toes? They're stepping on...
Like a deficit deadlift.
Not even a deficit. They have stepped the toes. The toes are...
Oh, the toes only. Not
the toes, not the whole
feet.
Foot.
The toes.
It is the toes.
Yeah,
and then
I've
they're
seen.
doing Well, some others may argue they will feel their glutes when they do that. But if you have a proper mind muscle connection, you'll find out that you don't need to step on anything when you're doing RDL or
just
deadlift.
need to focus on the movement and
Think anytime you're exercising, think about the muscle.
and the technique.
Don't think about the joint. Don't think about the weight. And that is now what we call hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is you're thinking about the muscle. You don't care about the weight. Thinking about the execution. Strength. Thinking about the technique. Strength is a skill. Anytime you're doing strength training, anytime you're doing squat, deadlift, or bench, technique should be the first thing first. Okay? So, because you're thinking about the maximum amount of load that I can lift for just one rep. So, you're thinking about the load. So, you think about even increasing the load. For the hypertrophy or size, think about execution. Think about your muscles. Think about progressive overload. Don't just think on progressing through the weights. You can progress in so many ways. You can progress load, reps, sets, or tempo. Very few people progress using tempo. Tempo is whereby you're extending a rep. So if a rep goes for only, if you can perform a rep for only 1 second, you extend that to 3 seconds.
So you control slowly
down. Very few people do that. Okay. They only focus on increasing the weight on the load. And some of these keys I'm pointing out, they are not only helping you in developing size, but also they act as therapy to your general body.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So thank you so much to our listeners for listening. Our topic today was effective training. I hope you've learned a thing or two about effective training. Remember, in case you need a program, you can reach out to Miles Miller at
Miles Miller 254.
Yeah, he's on
Instagram,
YouTube.
everywhere.
Yeah. So in case you need, if there's a topic you feel like you want us to discuss, kindly DM us on Vince Fitness or Vince Functional Fitness on socials. Thank you so much. See you on the next one. This show was recorded and produced at Represented Studio in Nairobi, Kenya.